Hi, it's Tony again, and we're back on the bench. And this afternoon, we're going to be getting into this Daiwa 7270A spinning reel. I'd say this is an ultralight spinning reel. It's a unit that I picked up in a box with a bunch of other reels on eBay some time back, and pretty much all the reels in that lot had problems, or they were parts reels, or they were just complete junkers. This happened to be in that collection. We're going to be taking it apart, doing our basic service, cleaning on it. Overall, it's looking so far like it's a pretty simple reel, and I'm not really seeing any real problem with it per se. The bail does work. We'll tighten up the drag here and see if it's actually applying drag, which it is. It's not a huge amount, but it's a small reel, so that would make sense. So, I'm gonna safely guess that there probably isn't too many problems with this. Our anti-reverse is working fine. I can definitely hear the dog spring clicking in there. So let's take it apart and let's see what's inside, and we'll get this ready for the next fishing season, hopefully. Take our top cap off. It is a little dusty, so we'll definitely be doing some cleaning work on this, but that's okay. Put that off to the side, spools out. So this would appear like this has a pretty simplified drag system. I'm only seeing this one metal washer in here. I do not have the schematic for this, but my guess is that that's probably it right there, because there's not a lot more clearance in this groove right here to put much of anything else. And so I'm gonna say that that's probably it for this reel. So we've got that piece there, and we've got one screw down here at the bottom, and let's also see if we can get our handle to come off. Most of these handles will come off like so. Yeah, Daiwa reels are made in Korea. It's stamped down here at the bottom, made in Korea. And they've made a lot of good reels over the years. Actually, they're a reputable company, and they've been doing it for a long time now. So let's see what's inside here. So yeah, I mean, this is really not too bad. I'd say that's more than likely original grease that's built up in there, but that's not a big deal. That's why we open these things up to see what's going on in there. I'm gonna guess that this pin comes out. Obviously, I've never worked on this particular reel before, but that's kind of par for the course sometimes. And I'd like to entertain the idea of being able to just pull out the pinion shaft like so. So that looks good. I'm not sure about the rotor coming off. This looks like a special keyed unit here, and it doesn't really give me the impression that it's meant to come apart. But what I am seeing is there's this little strip of metal here, this key right here, and this piece obviously is meant to come out. So we'll make note of that. And then we can get our block out, and that block is pretty gummed up with some old lubricant there, so we're definitely going to take care of that. And then as far as the pinion gear coming out, it looks like it comes out with the rotor assembly from what we're seeing here. So that's interesting to note that it does that. Okay, so I am seeing some signs of rust in here, unfortunately, but once again, we'll clean that up with a little bit of WD-40 and some degreaser probably. But let's have a look here at our main gear. The main gear looks very clean. The teeth don't seem to have any problems. So we're just gonna see what's involved here in pulling this out. And my dog spring is already wanting to jump out on me, I can tell here. So I'm going to try to keep that in place so that it doesn't do anything while I attempt to get this main gear out, like so. But the main gear looks fine. There's no problems there at all, really. So that's great. But yeah, this is a real simple setup, actually. Real simple reel. And sometimes the simpler reels are in fact, sometimes some of the better ones. So we're just going to get into some cleaning here. We're just going to do the basics, and we're going to get some of this old grease out of here. And there goes that dog spring again. So we'll just take all these pieces out here, and we'll. It looks like it's not too complex. That's a dog spring that you would have like in a Penn conventional reel, and obviously that stuff can only work one way. So we're just going to get our grease out of the way here. You can see all that build up there. Definitely want to get rid of that. But been working on a lot of spinning reels lately. This has been a good time to knock out some of these projects due to the current events in the world today, and I'm hoping to get to a bunch more soon. So yeah, you can see all that old grease buildup in there. We just want to eliminate that the best that we can, and get that out of there. Get it out of the shafts and the working areas, definitely. And you see all that dirty grease in there. But I would say that this is actually a pretty decent little reel, and probably very good for a beginner that's learning how to maybe trout fish or something like that using spinning tackle. Like a youngster that's used to using like a spin cast reel, and then they're gonna move on up into a spinning outfit. I'd say this is probably a really good reel to start with. Okay, so I think that's going to be just fine. And now this block here, well, we just need to get all this old grease off of here, and we're just going to take a towel to this and let it do its work here, because there's a huge amount of buildup on that we want to loosen up and get rid of. And we kind of need to poke out this grease here as well in this hole for the axle shaft. Yeah, I'd say that this reel is perfect for just for small lake or stream fishing. If you're going for like stock trout or panfish, anything of that sort, I'd say this is perfect for that. And put some 4-pound test line on there, and you're good to go. So I'm just going to clean that out the best that we can. Looks pretty good. Get that out of the way. And now I'm just going to inspect our main gear here. And the main gear is quite clean, actually. It's dry, but it's clean. So I don't think we have to get into a lot of heavy degreasing and stuff like that. We're just going to do the basics on this and get this reel back together here soon. I do want to try to get this out of these teeth here, although it doesn't look like it's too gummed up. It just looks like it's just there. Sometimes what happens with a lot of these gears is that they get gummed up, as I call them, where the old lubricant just basically bakes on there, and it's very difficult to get off of there. But we can take care of that a little bit with this little brass brush here, and just get some of that off of there. A little bit of steel wool on the inside here, maybe, just to smooth that out. So as you can see, that cleans up real well. I find that some real basic household tools go a long way for cleaning up a lot of this stuff, the steel wool, the Q-tips, things of that sort. So, okay. Now let's clean up our dog. Just wipe that guy off. And I'm just going to take a little steel wool to this here and try to get some of that discoloration off of there. Piece looks fine. Clean this clip off here. That looks good there. Okay. So now we can start piecing these things back together. And we're going to start with our dog, of course, and our dog spring, and get that back into position. And it would appear that the way this works is this has to go probably like this, I'm guessing. We're going to find out in a second here. Sometimes you need a helping little tool or something like that in here to maneuver this piece in there, so to speak. So we'll see what we can do here. Still difficult to get in there. So what I'm probably going to do here is I'm probably just going to pause for a moment while I get that in there. Okay, so as you can see, the spring is in place there. You just have to work at it a little bit, but it goes in just fine. So we're going to set that down, and we're going to get this reel lubed up here. And I think for this reel, I'm just going to use this this tube of Garcia Silicote. It should work just fine for this reel. It's not too heavy duty or anything like that. And I've got some of these old tubes that I'm looking to kind of use up a little bit. So I'll just apply some of that in there. Put a little bit here on the teeth here, the dog click. And what we can do here is apply just a little bead of oil on here for the dog, just for when it's working its way around there. The rest of that should be fine. We're just going to slide the main gear back into place, like so. And then we can apply some lube onto these teeth, and again, not too much, just enough to get the job done. Like so. And then we can put our our block back into place here, this plastic piece. We're just going to set that in there like so. And then we're going to take our pinion shaft here, and we will clean this off. There is a little bit of old grease on here that we're definitely going to want to eliminate. And what I'll do a lot of the time with these axle shafts is I'll just take the steel wool to these just a little bit, just to help round them up a little bit. It's all good there. And then our rotor is, you know, it's not in bad shape, but it definitely would benefit from a little bit of cleaning. So we're just gonna take a little bit of degreaser to this and just kind of hose that down a little bit. Get all those old contaminants out of there. Like that. And unfortunately that rust is in there. What I'll probably do is spray a light film of WD-40 in there, even though I prefer not to do that. There is rust on the bail here as well. But what we can do there is we can take the steel wool to that, as well as clean off the pinning gear here, get some of that old grease off of there. That all looks good. Steel wool to the bail. Yeah, I find that the steel wool is definitely helpful with a lot of these kinds of pieces that are experiencing rust damage and stuff like that. So it's good to have some around if you're working on these. Okay. Okay, and we'll just do a light little spray on our towel here of some WD-40, and I'm just going to kind of roll that around in there just to kind of help break down some of that rust over time, so to speak. And that should all be good there. Okay, so that doesn't look too bad. So now we're ready to place this back in, and what we will do here is we'll just put a little bead around our pinion gear here, put that into place, and we're also we'll do a little bit inside this shaft right here. Just let that work its way in there, like so. Okay. And it mates like that. And then we've got our key, it looks like. I'm going to put him back into place, or kind of a snap ring key. And that seems to go in quite easily, like so. Okay, and now we can apply some lube, some silicote here to our axle shaft, like so. And we will go back in with that. And we got our pin that we're going to put back into place, like so. And as you can see, that silicote is going to work its way in there real nicely. And this is feeling pretty good, so I don't think there's any more need for any additional lubricant or anything like that in there. Okay, just clean off our cap here a little bit. This is a plastic cap, I'm noticing, which is fine. Just gonna spray down this with a little bit of degreaser though. But I will be working on many more of these projects, as I mentioned earlier, and there's quite a few on the list, and right now we're primarily focusing on these spinning reel projects. So that's been the main task as of late. And I'll do a little bead of oil right here for our screw, just so that doesn't give us any problems if we go to take the reel apart again. Real simple design on this reel, nothing fancy, nothing complicated, it would appear. Just straightforward stuff. So that's good there. Okay, so now we'll just clean up our spool. There's not too much going on here, really. A little dusty, but not too bad. Just in need of a little bit of cleaning. probably use the Q-tip on this here. Just get some of this excess dust and dirt out of here. Okay, put our drag piece back in, real simple. And what I probably will do here is I'll just put a little bead of Silicoat here, just on those teeth. Let that work its way in there. So, clean our cap off. As you can see, this is a pretty simple design, not very difficult to work on. So if you're looking for a little spinning reel to work on that's pretty basic, I would highly recommend this one because there's not too much going on to it. Put that on like so and snug that up a little bit and see what that feels like. That's feeling pretty good. Not a sophisticated drag system again. Let's apply a little bead of oil here, of course, on the bail. Just let that work its way in there. It's got a real simple bail design. And it doesn't even really have like a snap in it. It just, you got to pull it back enough and then it just kind of stays there. It doesn't really snap per se. So that's just the way of that design. Okay, so we'll just take a Q-tip here to the inside of these threads on the handle and get that cleaned up the best that we can. And we'll put that back on, do a little bead of oil there. And there we have it. That dog is as loud as ever. Anti-reverse is good. Bail is good. Tighten that drag down once more. Make sure that's working good. Yeah, I think that's all good there. Loosen it back up again. So there you have it. The Daiwa 7270A, all ready to go. So this is Tony with Back on the Bench. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe. We'll see you next time.